Meet Mike, today's interviewer. Mike used to work at Google and Yahoo and Airbnb as an engineering manager. Now he's the co-founder and CTO of his own company, but still makes time to help new developers gain confidence in your skills and perform well in interviews. Next, meet Silvia, today's interviewee. Silvia is a new front-end developer with no professional experience yet. She's been learning on Scrimba for a while now, and today Mike is going to put her through her paces to see if she's ready to interview for a junior developer role. Mike is going to test Silvia's ability to create and work with React components, enumerate data in a data source, and then bring everything together using CSS Grid. In the end, Mike is going to tell Silvia whether she's been hired or if unfortunately she's been rejected. My name is Alex, I am your facilitator today, and I will see you at the end when Mike, myself, and Silvia do a debrief to see what went well, what could be improved, and ultimately if Silvia was successful in the mock interview. Here's a challenge for you. While you watch along, try and put yourself in Silvia's shoes. Like, you don't have to code the code, but just ask yourself as Mike presents the questions, do you know the answer, or at least where to find it? Comment down below how you're getting on, as I think it's going to bring some people together. With all of that said, let's get into it.
Tell me a little bit about your background. I saw that you're self-taught. Give me some of the highlights of kind of your learning experience and kind of what you're looking for in your first role.
It was amazing, actually, learning to code, because I am an economist by university and then worked for several years in international companies and also in international projects. So I got to work with IT people, and I was always wondering, how can they code such amazing things just with programs? And in 2020, I was unfortunately laid off in a big reorganization at my company. So I started thinking about what should I do afterwards. I couldn't work straight away because I had a little baby. And I started thinking about learning to code. For full transparency, the initial idea was learning to code to turn myself into an IT project manager, because I had done project management before, so I wanted to understand a bit more of how things get done to be able to manage projects. But then I started with a bootcamp here in Barcelona, mid-2020. It was front-end basically because as a beginner, I think it's easier to see what you're doing when you code. And I totally fell in love with coding. So
That's great.
I finished the bootcamp. It was, JavaScript, React, the typical. And then I wanted to learn a bit more about JavaScript and React. So I went on studying, and now I'm looking for a job.
Very nice to meet you. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we can get started with the coding challenge. Sound good?
Yeah.
Well, I guess like my introduction for this, I've done a lot of these, like on both sides of the table, both as an interviewee and an interviewer. So I am like well familiar with how to conduct and perform in these interviews. Unfortunately, I think it's one of the biggest levers for increasing your income in engineering. I believe very strongly in like people getting good at it in its current iteration. And maybe someday there will be no more live coding reviews, but in the meantime, you have to get good at them. So I really like teaching people how to do them well, and so that's what I'm doing here. I shared with you a couple things. I shared with you this CodePen link that has a React basic element basic component to get started. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see this React component, and then you'll see a bunch of test data that we have here. The prompt is to build this little grid of cards. So this is essentially like cat profiles. Imagine like an adoption site or some other site that features cats. Kind of the highlights of this are the profile image at the top. And so, yeah, like there's going to be a little bit of gap between each of the cards. And there's going to be a profile image at the top and the name underneath that in slightly larger font. And underneath that is normal size font that's slightly muted in color with a bullet in between the number of years and the breed of the cat, and then below that is a description in that same size font, and then a little bit of padding around that. So this image is deliberately low fidelity because I don't want you to get too worked up about like being pixel perfect, but definitely make it resemble this. And so we're going to start with rendering 6 of the cards. There's actually 10 cards or 10 cats in that array. Let's try render the first 6 of them. And then if we get through all that, then I'll add a little bit of an extension at the end. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, good. That's actually what I was asking. If data was just that, or there was more coming, or yeah.
Yeah, I thought about doing a whole API thing. I think this is a good scope for this amount of time in question.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for the moment 6, and then let's see.
One second, real quick. Let's go back to the screenshot. Note under vanilla, it says 1 year. So that is just something to keep in mind too. It says 1 year, and it says years
nice,
for all the other ones. So we want to get the pluralization correct.
So let me see what we have here. Absolutely nothing for the moment. Just hello printed on the screen. Okay. Should I keep this with just one, all within this JS, right? Because
yes, definitely render this all in React if you're going to use React.
Okay. Yeah. But I can make like a component card here, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so as I need to render, sorry, I have different keyboards here. As I need to render 6 or more cards, I think it makes sense to build a component that can take data and map through that array, rendering the same structure, but with the different data inside. So this, let me see the data first. So name, breed, URL, description, age. Okay. So, okay, I will start maybe with just one, and then I will do a map. Does this make any sense?
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. I think do you want to start with kind of rendering the data to the page, or do you want to start with styling?
I normally start first making it work, and then I do the styling.
Okay.
But yeah, we can do both. Never mind.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. Okay, so this will be probably this. Is there any shortcut here in CodePen to like emit or?
No? I think you can use emit in the HTML, but you cannot use it in the JSX, unfortunately.
Okay.
So if you want to write HTML in the HTML panel and then copy it over, that could be a good. But then you have to change all class to class name. It's probably not worth it, unfortunately. This is one thing that frustrates me about CodePen.
No, never mind.
I feel your pain.
A bit of pain, yes, I'm feeling, but no worries. Okay, I just would like to see basically if I can make at least one card work.
Mm-hmm.
So now I will hard code data.
Yep.
I will go back. So it's name. Name puffins. No. Oh. I also am on the laptop, so with a small screen.
and people watching you type, which is the worst.
Actually, it's my first live coding with a big part of live coding because I just did some bug finding, but no.
Wow. You're very brave.
Well, I don't think I will die. Okay. And then you said a dot here. A bullet. How can I?
Oh yeah. Why don't I give you?
I don't remember where is the.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bullet here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It's a lot easier. I actually don't remember how to do it on Windows. It's a lot easier to do on Mac. It's just option 8 for our viewers, in case you are curious.
Okay, and description, which is nothing more than your lorem ipsum here. Oh. Hi, please. Okay. Okay. I don't think I even need this. Well, yeah, I need a div here, but my. Okay. Okay, I just want to see if something happens.
All right.
Yeah, something happens. Okay. Yeah. So now I have my card with all these type hard code data typed with pain by me, copied. But now I should map those data into the card. So let me see here. Cats. Okay. I have a question, but
yes,
it's more of a I don't know, suggestion. It's better if I map data here in the return directly or in the component body, like here.
It is almost always better, in my opinion, to map. And like, this is what I've observed. People just map directly. Like I guess like the alternative would be to create an array of JSX and then render that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's better to map it inside of the the JSX.
Okay, so let's go here. Cats. Okay, so we will map every item. Well, we can call this cat because It's actually a cat. And we will return a card, but we need to give this some props because otherwise it's impossible to render the data. It will be just 10. I don't know how many items it's here. 10 of the same because it's all already typed here. So here I need the image source, the name. Well, actually I could also pass the whole object. It would be maybe easier.
What's your preference for this kind of thing?
I normally pass the whole object, but then I distract her because I don't really like having just props here and then repeating it everywhere. So
I saw a question about this recently on Twitter, like whether people use the props variable. I never use the props variable. I always just structure right in the arguments.
yeah. So yeah, I think I can do this. Actually, I don't know if you can do this with the same name. Yes, why not?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Okay, so here I will have name, breed, urine, description, age. So image source would be the URL. Let me see if something. Oh. What did I do here? Name. Okay, I broke everything.
What is wrong?
Yeah. Let me see. I'm passing here the whole object, right, to the component. And here I am destructuring, so should actually work. Why does...
So what are you destructuring inside of the card?
Because I don't actually need the whole object there. I need its properties.
What is the object that you're talking about?
So, for example, this one.
Right. It's a cat, right?
It's a cat, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cat with a name, a breed, a URL, description, and an age.
So on line 74, what is happening in what are you destructuring, like in on line 74?
Here, you mean? Yeah. This one,
I mean,
the
like
properties.
what, right. You're destructuring something, but this is destructuring the React props that are being passed to card, right?
Yes.
Which is this cat.
This cat.
Yep. So
Right.
props has a cat property, right? Like props has a cat object that is named
Yeah,
cat.
right. Yeah, okay. So
there's two ways to
yeah,
fix
because
this.
okay, yeah. So this would be
Great.
yeah.
Great. There's another way to fix this too. I'm
Thank
curious
you.
if you know what the other way to fix it is.
There's another way to fix this.
Like if you Command Z back to or Control Z back to where it was when it's broken. There's one other way to fix this. I'm curious if you know it. If you don't, that's totally fine.
But always destructuring or
Yes, yeah. There's one very small change that you can make to make this work as well.
No.
You may or may not be familiar with it already, but I can show you what it is, and then we can move on. We can move on with the original approach because that was working too.
Yeah, nothing comes to my mind. So
Got it. Yeah. If you spread cat on line 89, that will also do what you want to do.
Yeah. Nice, clever.
It just depends on how you want this information to show up. Yeah, if you get rid of the cat equals too.
Yeah. Here?
If you get rid of cat equals.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and just spread. It just depends on what you want to do with like if you want props to have name, breed, URL, description, age, or if you want to have like the whole cat object in case you need to like use that for some reason. This would be I don't think I would have a strong preference either way if I was looking at this particular problem, but just something to be aware of is that there's two different approaches.
Yeah, that's actually nice to know. I don't know if I have ever seen props like this.
It's a new thing then.
It's actually not too bad, but I think this way is a bit. I don't know. Maybe because I've always seen it like this, So
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Maybe it's clearer, but yeah. Wow. Okay, so now we should see the images again. Yeah.
Looking good.
Okay, so let me see if we have different names at least. Yes, we have different names, so that works. And here we have to do, let me see if I can find the, sorry if I am slow with this.
No, it's fine.
I have an Italian laptop with a Spanish virtual keyboard.
I can't imagine how difficult it is to code in other keyboard layouts.
No, it's okay. Actually, I was a bit in a hurry, so I didn't really set up everything as it should be, but never mind. Here it was breed. And here it's age. And here let me me see what we have for age. So what you very kindly highlighted before was that when the age was 1, year was singular. So I need to find a way to render this conditionally based on the age. And vanilla. Oh, what's happening here? No. Of course. Better now? Yes.
You don't need those backticks
But-
either.
Yeah. Why did I
Looking
do
good.
all this? I must have fell in love with template literals. Okay. So this is 8, 7, 4, 1 year.
Yeah, great.
Okay. Good. And here, description. Which actually is the same
They're all
for
the same,
everyone.
yeah.
Okay. But we have to render all just 6, right? Okay. So I would limit here to the first 6 elements. I don't know if, well, there must be another way to do it. But, this is the first thing that comes into my mind. So, and no, I got the wrong. Okay, no. I just want this. Okay. So if the index is more than 5, well, actually, I could do also the other way around. I don't know. I'm always wondering which one is better. And return. Okay. It is really different when someone is watching you.
Oh, yeah.
coding.
Yeah, it totally is.
It is.
Very much is. That's why you have to practice this environment. It's a very different skill than just quietly coding at home.
Yes. Okay.
We get up to Sudoku, I think. Is that right?
Yes,
the last
yes.
one? Yep.
That's what I was checking.
Great.
Yeah.
We're in good shape.
Okay, I think we have the cards ugly cards, but we at least have the data. So now we can do the CSS, maybe. Here, I don't know, flex or grid.
What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, if you always want three cards per line, flex works because you can wrap it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want it to be a bit more dynamic, I think it should be grid.
Yeah, I would say that this is a grid. If you're comfortable with the syntax, I would suggest using grid. I can talk you through like where flex breaks down after, if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, we could talk about that later. But
Okay.
yeah, if you're comfortable with grid, I would go with grid. If you're more comfortable with flex, flex will probably work for what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, definitely more comfortable with the flex because I used grid, but like some time ago. But we can do grid if you want, and maybe
It's
you
up to
will like
you. It's
me.
up to you. Whatever you're more comfortable with. By the way, I don't know if it's obvious, but you can Google things during this interview.
I
Sorry,
can.
that is something that I should have said at the
Then
beginning. I apologize, but so far you haven't really needed to do any of that. So yeah,
no, so
you're free
far
to
it
Google.
wasn't. There wasn't really anything to Google, so.
Yep. You were very comfortable with the
But
syntax. So
yeah, really
if
nice.
you want to Google any grid syntax and use grid, that's totally fine.
Okay, perfect. Then we use grid. Here it's already linked the CSS, or what's the deal with the code?
Yep. You don't need to include a CSS file or anything.
Okay. So I think I need to put grid in the outside container if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I may. Nothing happens, of course, because I didn't say anything about the columns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let's go to our friend Google. Maybe great. Any Googling is okay, or
Yep, anything is fine. Like there's literally nothing that you can Google that would be considered a cheat here.
okay. So, okay. Do we want three cards per row?
Let's just assume we want 3 cards. One of the other things that grid gets you is the ability to easily show different cards depending on what screen size, or different lengths depending on what screen size you're in.
Okay.
That's much harder to do in Flex, in my opinion. Not much harder, but like significantly hard. You have to use meter queries, but you don't need meter queries for this. So that's one really nice thing that we get from using grid.
Okay. Yeah.
Why don't we constrain your screen, the card container width too? Why don't we give that a max width of?
Yeah, sure. Because otherwise we don't really see anything.
It scrolls a lot, so I would constrain the card container width instead of constraining.
The parent, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we can give it a max width to like 800 and see what. Yeah, we don't want to be horizontally scrolling the whole time.
Yeah, it's.
Are we still horizontally scrolling?
Yeah.
Why?
Or just.
Oh, I think I know why.
You do?
Maybe. Let me see.
Maybe the root is bigger. I don't know. Or the images. Because
Yeah.
the images are not really sized at the moment.
Yeah.
So we should do that probably. I always have doubts if the image. Okay, card image. Yeah, much better. Okay. I just want to see something. If I put 40, then they have no gap, so I should give some gap anyways. And there was properties somewhere. Grid column gap. Okay. I don't know. Okay, something like that. And also some gap in the row. I don't remember the screenshot actually. Let's see. Yes. Okay.
Why don't we make them both the same?
Yeah, also it was just
That's good.
okay. Maybe there is a shortcut for this. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's just gap.
Gap. Yeah. Normally there is a shorthand for this in CSS.
Yep.
Okay, so now the image had no padding in the container. Okay, so the name was a bit bigger.
Yeah, we'll call the title 20 pixels font size.
Okay, fixed.
The name, yeah.
Okay. Card. Okay, font weight. No. No, of course, font size. Yeah, font weight. Not really. Breed age normal, you said, right? But a bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if these are the best class names, but I think for this,
no one ever knows that they're the best class names.
it's also hard to name variables. Sometimes
Yes.
I spend a lot of time with that. So color.
Let's do 777, or whatever you're gonna do there. Yeah.
I was going to put light
Let's see if
gray.
this works. That's
maybe
too light.
too light.
But we can try regular gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah. And the description was
Yeah, you don't need anything.
normal. Okay, now a bit of padding here, so I will need actually a container.
So those borders also around the card are part of the spec.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I didn't break anything, because this is always a possibility. Here it's I don't know.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna name this one?
Card. I think so. Yes, I need this
Call
one.
it card content. Card content is what I would probably name it. But I'm never sure about these things either. This is why I use Tailwind.
Yeah, yeah. I actually tried it for my portfolio the first time, and I actually did it in React also because I wanted to try React and Tailwind, and it was really easy, amazing.
Yes. I hate these like coming up with all these names. It annoys me a lot.
Yeah. Padding could be, I don't know, maybe
Great.
too much.
It's too much. It's fine. It's like, yeah, I think why don't we go with one or 1.5, I think, but like, it's totally fine. Like I just, the thing that we're evaluating is whether or not you know the syntax and like, not even the syntax, but like can get to the, can get to the right thing, but and you clearly can. So
here it's a card container.
I would just name it card, right?
Card.
Because you don't have an actual card class yet.
I always welcome suggestions on class names because it's painful for me.
Yeah,
Okay,
I feel like it makes sense you like Tailwind.
Yes. But I actually liked also using style components because I learned a lot more of plain CSS with that. Border. Okay, 1 pixel. Sorry. Oh, no. What did I do? Okay. Now I have a problem with the image, I see. But I don't want the red border. There?
Perfect.
Okay. It's okay, 1 pixel. Yeah.
Yes, that's totally fine.
Okay, so now we will do to center this image. I could actually use flex. It would be, I think, easy.
So we don't actually want to center it because if you look at the image,
no, we don't.
There's no gap, right?
Okay. I understand. Can I use the dev tools here or no?
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Oh, sorry. Last time it was okay. A bit more, please. So actually, it's a problem of the size of the image. Okay, so, but one moment, because the size, limiting the size of the image, let me limit also the width of the whole thing. So, what if I limit also the size of the whole card container? No, card container, no, because you see, I was already confused. The card itself. Let me try.
So I guess like in your words, what is the problem with the image right now?
The problem is that I'm limiting the size of the image. So the image was smaller compared to its container, because the container could space up. Really, it's how can I explain that? It's regulated by the grid of the parent and the gap. So the container could be bigger, the card could be bigger, but the image was a bit smaller.
Yeah.
So now, seems to me, it's fixed.
Well, yeah. So if you mouse over your grid, if you mouse over it in DevTools, if we can find it, I would close that highlights at the bottom to make more room.
Yeah. Okay.
The bottom panel is,
the console. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's find the grid and highlight it. Oh, we're like in.
No, because I'm here.
Yep. Okay, so if you dock your DevTools to the bottom and expand the page, I think you'll see maybe a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard to do on CodePen with such a small screen size. Yeah, so mouse over that grid again.
Yeah.
You'll see that your gap is not accurate anymore, right?
Yes. 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. No, the gap is 3. It's
3, but if you mouse over it, you'll see that there's extra space.
Okay.
Let's can we? Yeah. You'll see that there's extra space.
It's
the pink stuff is the gap, and then there's extra space on the left of it. Yeah.
Let me see. One moment. Okay. It's on the whole card.
No worries. I think this is like a relatively minor detail. I think we can. We're coming up on time, so I want to make sure that you have time to basically like think through what would you do if this was an actual PR or like a pull request that you want to create? Like what would you do to clean this up, or like anything else that you would do to kind of like improve this if you had a little bit more time?
Okay, but you mean forgetting about this gap?
Yeah. For this image thing, I'll go over it at the end too.
Okay. Yeah, please.
It is relatively minor. I want to promise you that like this is not something I would have like dinged you a lot on.
Okay, so if this was a real PR, well, probably I would do separate files, but here on CodePen, no, because I basically think it's a much better structure. And then I would separate the data from these components. And I don't really have so much functions here. So I don't know. I don't particularly like this, the condition on my mapping. Probably if you're getting data from an API, you will limit this by number of records instead of doing like this. But since it's static, here doesn't really make much difference to me. It's just not really reusable, maybe now. And I don't know.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I think that's good. Anything else from like a UX standpoint, or any other considerations that you think about?
You mean the design? Yeah, I would put some more gap here, maybe. Then I think it's aesthetic. If you let me, because I don't like pointed borders, so I would make it round. This font is like always the same, so maybe you can find a font that resembles this, which is much fancier. And if you want to add more functionality, of course, you can put a favorite here, maybe save in local storage, I don't know. And maybe not a buy button, because you don't really buy the cat, but adopt me.
I was thinking more like from a mobile responsive standpoint.
On mobile, of course, you should see only one card at the time. So, no, I really can't.
That is one thing that Grid does kind of do pretty easily, but it does take a little bit of work to make that happen. But like I said, you can make it so that with Grid, you can start collapsing it, and then it'll go to 2, and then it'll go to 1. And you can do that without any media queries, which I think is awesome. But it takes I like never remember how to do it off the top of my head. It's like something to do with like min max grid template columns situation. So I would definitely update the grid template columns if we did have more time. So, but yeah, anything else before I kind of go into feedback?
No, I don't think so. I would improve the class names, because I don't really like that much the class names that I've put there. And no, I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're hired. You did really well.
I am.
So you did really well. So just able to get through, you didn't know that you could Google at the beginning, which is great. You just able to just go through the entire first part of the problem really well, without any guidance from me and any Googling. So that was really good. Like that, you got the core chunk of the problem all independently and fairly quickly. Some of the more minor things that we can improve on. So the big one here is this card image. So pretty much I also want to say that it was really good that you recognized that it was the image causing the problem when you did. The fact that you saw that the image was stretching out the whole grid was really impressive. So that's, I feel like your instinct immediately went to that. That was a really good instinct that you had.
Thanks.
If you scroll to the top of CSS, you actually, in my opinion, don't need an explicit width on images at all. And so we can get rid of the card max width as well. And this will expand the card to what we want it to do. So I put image max width 100% at the top of pretty much every every CSS file I work on, and like most of the CSS files that you work on, if they come with like a reset or something like that, will have this because this prevents that problem that you were talking about.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, this is like a base class that I put. Like, in my opinion, it's a missing thing in CSS to not have this. So, this allows us to get rid of any of the max widths on the individual elements within the grid. So that's kind of the preferred way to solve this problem. The other issue is, I would say we could do a little bit better with like our semantic HTML tags. So in my opinion, this card is an article. It's something that could be reused on like potentially like another website. And so that's what article is pretty good at. I think this card container could be a section. I feel like this card name could be an H1. We would need to reset the sizing for that, and maybe the card breed and age could be an H2. The description, I think, is correctly a description, but I would just give a little bit of hierarchy for people who are like sight impaired to be able to see like what the most important elements within this card are. So we had to reset the visual styling, but I would definitely recommend having a little bit of hierarchy to these texts.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then the last one is around, if we scroll down to the conditional for this, the I equals conditional. Yeah. So I would say what I would do here is like const max cats equals 6, and I would do a slice here. Slice it up to 6, and then you don't need this conditional at all.
Okay. Yeah, that conditional wasn't really convincing me, but yeah, it was serving the purpose for the moment.
Yep. Yeah, so this is what I would do to get it to be...
much better, yeah.
Yep. Oh, whoops, this should be max cats. Other than that, one other thing that I thought you did really well was namespacing your CSS classes. The fact that like you put card dash for all of them. I think if I were, it's like a mini block element modifier situation. So yeah, I would say that it's good that you like had some kind of naming scheme where you namespace it all to card. Like you didn't just put name, you didn't just put description. Like I think that would have been bad. You put like card dash name. I think we could get even more specific, but I'm not. I also hate naming CSS classes, but the fact that you thought about like, let's make these both reusable, but also like if there's some other name somewhere else in the app, we don't want to like override it with like the stuff that we're doing here. So really good job overall. I was very impressed.
Thank you. No, I had that moment of confusion with destructuring. Terrible.
No, you recovered really well from it. And you figured out, I actually would ordinarily let you struggle with it a little bit longer, but just to keep it like more brief. But once I gave you that nudge, you like figured out immediately what you had to do. So that was good too. All right, that is it. Congratulations, you got the job.
Congrats, Silvia. Woo, 5 job offers in 1 week. Brilliant job, both of you. That was awesome to watch. Don't know why I'm relaxing. I was just chilling out, watching and enjoying. But yeah, you
were sleeping.
You didn't seem phased at all, Silvia. You looked very, calm and collected the whole way. Came across really well. And same for you, Mike. Obviously, really great to watch.
Silvia, you did an awesome job. Like for someone who has never worked in the industry before, that was like really impressive that you just knew everything off the top of your head. You knew exactly what you're doing. So I am very impressed with your skill level.
Thank you. It wasn't too hard as a challenge. Actually, I had my first technical interview, but as I mentioned, it was just a bit of live coding, just finding some bugs in JavaScript. So it was quite easy with a timeout, and not too bad. The rest were theoretical questions about React and JavaScript, but I had never tried this whole code some kitten cards
From scratch. Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. You did great.
It was quite a clever challenge because you covered so many bases from right away you clearly showed that you had a strong understanding of React and props and your JSX, and then you even involved some sort of destructuring and spread operator in there a bit later, which I thought was nice. And then you had the little ternary condition for the years, which was just another little detail, and then finally that was smooth. And then then using CSS grid and sort of, I just like the whole thing. You were sort of debating, going back and forth about grid and flexbox. And then at some point you two just struck me as co-workers just chatting about Tailwind and your projects and things. It was a really good vibe.
I wish I was my colleagues. That would be an honor, but not yet. Just give me some time.
Sounds good, Silvia. Yeah, it was so great to work with you on this. I like Alex said, so many things that I thought that honestly, you would be surprised. I've done a lot of these for juniors, and you would be surprised. You mentioned everything that you did was pretty easy. You'd be surprised how people struggle with this. Even I think that I would find a lot of juniors who struggle with this problem quite a bit. And like Alex said, the pluralization, you just you knew exactly what to do. There's so many of these small things that I threw in throughout that that you figured out how to do. The slice thing, the fact that you knew you didn't know slice, but you knew how to get around it. You didn't know how to get around your knowledge gap by doing something equivalent, right? And that's a lot of what programming is. And maybe you learned something. A better way to do it from a more senior engineer. That's great, So, but the fact that you knew how to do it was great. So I think, really, really solid work.
Part of the reason people struggle also with easy problems in live coding, it's because it's live coding.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I really liked how you used it with the map, you used the index argument and you did an if condition. And I was thinking maybe there was a more declarative way to do it with slice or something. But I love how you sort of pointed out that you weren't totally happy with it, because yes. I think half the battle of coding is if you look at something and you know it's not right, that's actually a skill. That's a great indicator that you're about to figure it out and move on to the next thing. So I really like that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's so many people who they would not quite know how to do it the right way, and they would just freeze. And you did not. You hey, I know that map takes this index argument. I'll use that instead of just freezing, right? I think other people might even search for a solution too. I think that would have been totally valid. But you took your knowledge base and you figured out what to do. So that's really great.
Mike didn't tell you that you could Google until halfway through. So you were playing on hard mode for a bit as well.
I'm just so used to people knowing that they can Google that I just forgot to tell that you could Google. I apologize. And so you got halfway through, but you didn't even need it. It didn't even seem like it occurred to you to need to search anymore.
But you gave me such a great happiness when you told me I could Google. So
I will, if I do another one of these, I'll make sure to say it at the beginning. I always say it at the beginning of my interviews, but I just completely forgot this time.
Well, to be honest, I didn't really need to Google before Grid. Grid, it's hard to remember for me. And also I haven't been using it for a couple months. So you just forget the syntax, but yeah.
I literally could not tell you the syntax off the top of my head either. I know a lot of syntax by heart, but I definitely have to look up Grid every time.
Come on, let's go. I'm so excited for Silvia. That was epic. And actually, around the time of this mock interview, Silvia got 4 real salaried junior developer job offers, meaning around this time, you could say that the mock interview was like her 5th job offer, which is kind of remarkable and hopefully super encouraging to anybody watching who's like wondering, am I ready to start applying for jobs? Like if you felt like you could have been in Silvia's shoes and like you could have done reasonably well, then I think totally you're ready and you should start applying. Unfortunately, technical interviews get a bad reputation, don't they? Like, you think there might be gotcha questions or it's all about whiteboards. I think what Mike, an experienced engineering manager out of Silicon Valley, demonstrated is a more representative example of an interview, something which is more about collaboration. And, of course, Silvia had to demonstrate some technical knowledge around, React and passing data through React, enumerating data, CSS grid and things like that. But it was always a dialogue, right? Like, it was friendly and fun, but also, the job was to turn Mike's wireframe into a real website, and Silvia had to listen carefully to do that successfully. Likewise, she asked clarifying questions, and there was a little bit of room for fun in there as well, which I think is always nice to see. Like, if you can sort of smile with your interviewer, or if like the interview goes on like longer than you had scheduled, in my opinion, those are always like 2 really great signs, because probably the interviewer's enjoying it and would probably enjoy working with you. If it's really tense and like you're struggling, I think you'll feel it. And so, yeah, I really hope this gave you confidence. If you did take me up on my challenge to sort of put yourself in Silvia's shoes, make sure you comment down below how you felt about it, because I think it's really encouraging to see how other people are thinking about it, right? You might recognize someone struggling and you can help them. You might share your own experience that inspires others. That's really what we're about here on the Scrimba YouTube channel. And if you're all about that and you want to see more helpful content about learning to code or becoming a junior dev, make sure you subscribe as well, as there's lots more coming. In the meantime though, you can check out 2 of the videos we've uploaded recently here at Scrimba, and until next time, I will see you.